What is the thing that surprised you the most when you traveled to a country you had never been to before? Probably in Germany when I bought a beer in a convenience store and they offered to open it for me so I could enjoy it on my walk. When I went to Berlin, this threw me off. My tattoo artist took me across the street and bought me a beer and then we walked around. It was such a neat experience. My fiancé was busy in a meeting that day, so the following day I said, hey, look what we can do. And I bought us 2 beers and then I said, now we can go walk around. She was so skeptical at first, but then we walked around Berlin, drinking beer and taking in the sights. It was such a neat experience. New York is exactly as advertised. Everything I see on TV shows and movies are exactly the same. I've been to a lot of places, but New York is the only one that is exactly my expectation. I love the fact that people do indeed curse loudly and friendly at each other. Someone crosses the road and isn't paying attention, and someone else will stick their head out the window and shout some colorful anatomy question regarding their head. Does the pedestrian respond with, hey, I'm walking here? To which you hear a response of, go suck a DCK, true story, and I completely agree, NY is as expected. On my first night of my first visit to NY, I found an unconscious guy. There was a cop about 10 meters away chewing gum. I told him about the guy and the cop came over and started poking him with his foot in the head. After no reaction, he started kicking him, gently but still kicking, still no reaction. He shrugged and said the guy was likely drunk or drugged and walked off. Rent my job. In Prague, when you open a camera in the street, it's like a force field. PPL automatically moves aside to not stand in the way. Good luck doing the same in Valletta. Heated sidewalks in Finland. Absolutely lifesavers for me who had no idea how to walk on ice. No trash anywhere, either. Adding to this, icy sidewalks. Didn't think about it because I wasn't somewhere with obvious snow, but turned a corner in Vancouver and basically surfed down a block and a half. Probably only didn't eat pavement because I'd just been skiing for a week. See, the problem is you visited between February 10th through 12th. Everyone here knows those are our 3 official snow days. Legally, only rain is allowed outside of those days. Interesting. In Sweden we have this very strict policy of mixing rain with snow, and the snow may only stay for 2 days max. And the laws also state that it must rain all summer, apart from 1 week which is cloudy with a small chance of sunshine. This has caused panic for the last 2 or 3 years, which have been incredibly hot and dry during the summer. In Thailand we were watching a movie and they played the national anthem and everyone stood up for their king. I'm in Thailand at the moment. There have been huge protests and speaking out against the monarchy for the past year or so, which is dangerous as it's illegal, with severe penalties. I went to watch a film a few weeks ago. Only around half the people in the cinema stood up during the showing of the King's video before the movie. It's not actually the national anthem, just some rousing nationalist song with clips of him in ceremonial dress. This may not sound like a big deal, but it was absolutely unthinkable, even 2 years ago, for half the people to show such disrespect and to remain seated during that part. Living in Thailand for 13 years, I can tell you the people love their old king, King Rama IX, that sadly passed away. He was the most beloved person in the country. He has so many projects and undergoings that help the quality of life for so many people in Thailand. He was very connected to his country and people. I know for a fact everybody would pause and stand if his anthem was played anywhere out of voluntary action. I've never seen such respect for a king. On the other hand, his son, who is now the king of Thailand, King Rama X, is much disliked compared to the other king due to his lifestyle and carelessness for the country. That's why they're protesting the monarchy. They know King Rama IX won't be topped by any successors, so might as well end it. I say good for them. They shouldn't be bowing to someone that doesn't care much for them. German Boulevard media is having a field day with Verherlongkorn's tactics of renting out almost an entire highly expensive motel to do nothing of note other than play around with his harem and apparently conceive illegitimate children. This in the photos where he's running around with a tank top and hot pants, acting like he's high as a kite. Reminder, this guy isn't some rich kid barely past his teenage years or someone in a midlife crisis, he's almost 70 years old. Can't imagine why he might be unpopular with struggling Thai common folk. Yeah, he's absolutely crazy. What I said about him was put very lightly. This is the raw truth. Thanks for commenting. A few years ago we went to Italy and I made my wife go on a side trip to Herculaneum and Pompeii for a couple days. In Herculaneum we were wandering around in town when 5 p.m. rolled around, and within 15 minutes the streets were filled with people, not hurrying past one another, but just standing around talking, having an ice cream, drinking a beer or whatever. Cool, sounds like a story, the city just coming alive at the chime of a bell. Ashgabat, Turkmenistan, everything about it. The entire city, every building, is white marble. It lights up at night like a sterile Las Vegas. However, there is no advertising except for billboards of the dictator holding on to puppies by the neck to show everyone how nice he is. He has pretty much positioned himself as a religious prophet. The airport is shaped like a massive white marble eagle. It used to be a red building, but soon after it was built they tore it down and built a white marble one to match the current decor. Also, there is no white marble in Turkmenistan, so it has to be imported from Italy. They were the largest importer of white marble in the world and drove the price up so high it cost them ridiculous amounts of money to build the buildings. Strange place. The amount of eye contact and observation. When I went to Morocco, in the evening the streets would be packed full of families sitting and talking. These people would watch each other. In fact, even the way I'm describing it with watch shows how unwelcome and uncomfortable it would be in England. People would also make eye contact and keep it frequently on the street, just with ease. It felt so strange for me at first. Yes. Oh my god, I'm from Morocco and this has always been one of my main complaints about this place, and I never understood why it didn't bother other people so much. It would definitely be considered creepy in other countries, but here, people see no issue in staring at you and what you're doing anywhere, anytime. It's one of the main reasons I hate going out. Frown. So how would a tourist handle it? Ignore it or look back, make eye contact, smile or wave? You're better off ignoring. The smells of a different country. I'm from Australia and traveled to Malaysia a few years back. The city, the jungle, everything smelled different to any place in Australia. Edit. Damn, I had a nap and woke up to find this had blown up. It's good to see it's a common experience when traveling to other countries. Also, thanks for my very first awards. I still distinctly remember the smell of Turkey, Egypt, Switzerland, Spain, so many countries we visited traveling Europe, and I remember coming home to Sydney and being like, so this is what home smells like. Japan has no garbage cans anywhere on the streets, but their streets were pretty damn clean somehow. Rip my inbox. We noticed that in Thailand, too, especially while living in Chiang Mai. Like, how? Where does it go? We'd carried any trash we had long distances to find somewhere to throw it out, but never saw anyone else doing that. Strange you didn't see them, because most of Thailand has government curbside refuse collection like most countries. The incredible security in Seoul. I'm from Latin America, so I'm used to be very alert at everything, everywhere. I forgot my backpack in a small cafeteria and after 25 minutes it was completely untouched in the same spot. You could walk at 3 a.m. with your cell phone in your hands and there'll be no fear about anything. My friend was once studying in a cafe in Korea and went home for maybe 20 minutes to change his laundry over. Left his laptop and phone on the table in the cafe because he knew they'd still be there when he got back. And they were. The exception to this is bicycles. Bicycles get stolen pretty often in Korea, no idea why that's the exception. Bicycles have to be the most universally stolen thing in the entire world. Makes sense, a little bit of value, no identifying markings, other than the owner knowing, when people aren't riding it they leave it somewhere, and in the movies it's okay to take them from kids and chase people with them. Serial number is usually below the bottom bracket. So might not hurt to write that down just in case. Now if you want to pawn something worth money with no serial number, and easy to take, try extension cables. The gondola ride in Venice. Not what I expected with the smelly waters, the crashing gondolas with the drivers cursing each other in Italian. Nothing romantic about it. Gondolas are tourist traps, stupidly expensive too. On top of everything you just said, you're better off enjoying Venice walking around, or take the ferry water bus system if you're going far. I was there once and we were considering a ride, but the price he suggested was outrageous. We kept saying no, he kept lowering the price, eventually we just walked away. He ran after us and offered a ride for less than half of what he originally asked for, so we ended up accepting this offer, just to experience it. Walking was indeed more fun. Anyone reading this thinking of going to Venice? Check out Row Venice. It's a company that gives gondola driving courses. Rather than sitting in a queue of hundreds of other boats full of people who were expecting a romantic experience, you go to the quiet northern part of the city and get taken around the back streets by someone who shows you how to pilot a gondola yourself. Easily the best experience I had out there and far more interesting than doing what everyone else did. Makes for better photos too.